Nigeria, together with Eritrea, Myanmar, Tanzania, and Kyrgyzstan. It was also reported that the United States justified the action, stating that Nigeria did not adequately share public safety and terrorism-related information necessary for the protection of national security and public safety of the United States. The chairman, Senate Committee on Primary Health Care and Communicable Diseases, Senator Chukwuka Utazi, has decried the lack of adequate response mechanism to handling disease outbreaks in Nigeria. Utazi spoke during an oversight of the Senate Committee on Health to port health facilities at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport and the Apapa Seaport, both in Lagos. He said it was worrisome that the country put in so much energy in fighting disease outbreaks rather than putting in place mechanisms to prevent the outbreaks. An Abuja lawyer, Oluwatosin Ojaomo, has sued the daughter of President Muhammadu Buhari for alleged illegal use of the presidential aircraft for a private visit to Bauchi State. Newsmen obtained copies of the processes filed by the claimant at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja. The claimant urged the court to order Hanan Buhari to refund the cost of both the fueling of the aircraft and travel logistics incurred to the federal government into the Consolidated Revenue Fund account. Ojaomo also urged the court to make a declaratory order that Hannah has no statutory right to use the presidential aircraft which is provided for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and other public officers for the purpose of performing their official functions. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has approved the resuscitation of zonal operational offices for the State Road Maintenance Agency, OIS Roma, in order to extend the operations of the agency to other parts of the state. The chairman, OIS Roma, Honorable Camille Akinlabi, disclosed this during a press briefing in Ibadan while inspecting the rehabilitation of the University of Ibadan, Bodija Secretariat roads being carried out by the agency. According to the chairman, the approval of the resuscitation of the zonal offices aside Ibadan zone was to facilitate a more holistic and effective road rehabilitation and maintenance in all parts of the state. He added that the zonal operational offices would be for Oyo, Ogbomosho, Okiogun, and Ibarakpa zones. This is news around the world on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Let's now talk some pension and labor stories around the world. The Oyo State chapter of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has lauded Governor Seyi Makinde over the signing of agreement on the implementation of 30,000 naira minimum wage for the state workers. The state's NLC chairman, Bayo Titilola Sudu, made this known in an interview with newsmen. He said it was a welcome development and pleasing to the ears. Sudu also added that it was a joint agreement and a good development. Meanwhile, Oyo State workers have been reacting to the agreement on the new minimum wage in the state between the government and labor leaders. Some of the workers at the state secretariat who spoke with our correspondent Anu Luwakpo Fasui praised the president's administration for the approval of the new minimum wage. There were also those who felt that the government could have done better compared with other states. The respondents, however, urged workers to reciprocate government's gesture by giving their best.
So I have not seen the detailed agreement or so far with our experience with the governor. He's a man of his word. He always keep his promise. So we believe strongly that whatever be the decision that have been reached with the labor, surely they are there to.
Because you can see those states, Ogun State table is even better than Oyo State, and Oyo State should be we're supposed to keep our name that Adishebi Oyo. If you check the table, you see that Ogun State almost 12,000, 10,000 supersede Oyo State still. So, and you see, you enter markets now, you see that thing has already going up.
Well, according to beneficiary,
At least we have to start somewhere. We have started where? In cost of the negotiations, things will normalize itself. Things will be okay.
As a matter of fact, I am a retiree, but the elder indirectly, I will also be a beneficiary. For example, my wife is a teacher and still in service. She heard about the news, and now after the news was broken into, there was a passed into the air, and immediately she showed me the news item on her phone. I was highly elated, and I give kudos to the President of your state governor, Governor Seyi Makinde.
Oyo State Police Command has commenced recruitment of community policing volunteers. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Shino Olukolu, stated this in Ibadan while commissioning the administrative block in Egbeda Division Command of the Nigeria Police Force. Olukolu explained that the command had begun screening of the volunteers in connection with traditional rulers and members of the Police Community Relations Committee. The commissioner added that those to be recruited must be able-bodied and must be between the ages of 21 and 50. Meanwhile, some Nigerians have faulted the position by the police that volunteers for community police would not be entitled to salaries. Recall that some commissioners of police, after a meeting with the Inspector General of Police, had said only those with a job would be imbibed as community police constables, saying it was good the issue of payment was made clear to guide interested volunteers. Speaking with our correspondent, some residents of Ibadan said if salary or stipend is not attached, the purpose of the community policing would be defeated.
Those in the National Assembly, they receive allowances, wardrobe allowances, even sleeping allowances, sitting allowances, going to toilet allowance everywhere. Then to pay people that have volunteered themselves to do a very great job, how would that be the problem? They should make allowance for their pay.
Most of them will not come around. There's nobody who will be happy to come and do something that they will not even gain from there. Instead of the masses here have 10 are hoping nothing. And if they see a little thing to come and do and have a little thing, they'll be happy. You will see much people will come around. But without that, I don't think it is good.
Residents of Ibadan there reacting to the alleged non-allowance for prospective community police volunteers. And outside the country, opponents of the French government's pension reform returned to the streets of France in a fresh bid to force President Emmanuel Macron to ditch the overhaul of the country's pension system despite falling numbers. The motivation of the protesters remained the same as they want the government to scrap what they call an unfair and dangerous project, which has become the situation of the 5 unions left behind in the latest industrial action. The last interprofessional strike on January 30 mobilized 108,000 people in France, according to the Interior Ministry, far less than the 249,000 protesters that took to the streets the week before. You are still on to news around the world on Pensioners 106.7 FM, Ibadan. Now to other stories. Equatorial Guinea's president has announced that his country will donate $2 million to aid China as it battles the coronavirus outbreak. The decision was made at a cabinet meeting and is intended as a show of support and solidarity to one of Equatorial Guinea's key trading partners. Meanwhile, Hong Kong has begun mandatory 2-week quarantine for anyone arriving from mainland China in a fresh effort to contain the deadly new coronavirus. The visitors must isolate themselves in hotel or government-run centers, while residents must stay inside their homes. Anyone caught flouting the new rule faces a fine and a prison sentence. So far, over 34 million cases have been confirmed in 25 countries, according to the World Health Organization, WHO. United States President Donald Trump has dismissed 2 senior officials who testified against him at his impeachment trial. They are United States envoy to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, and a top expert in Ukraine, Alexander Vindman. Trump is said to desire a staff shakeup after senators cleared him in the impeachment case. The Senate decided not to remove America's 45th president from office on charges arising from his dealings with Ukraine. But Mr. Trump stands impeached at the House of Representatives. You are still on to news around the world on Pensioners 106.7 FM Ibadan. We will be back with entertainment and sports stories. Stay tuned. News has broken that Afro-pop music artist T Classic is the newest addition on the roster for Sony Music West Africa (SMWA). Since breaking onto the music scene in 2017, T Classic has had an impressive run, from successive music singles released to an association with some of the industry's bigwigs like Mayokun, Tiwa Savage, Peruzzi, and DJ K-Wise. The 22-year-old singer has experienced expansive growth in his overall music craft. A private dinner was held in honor of the young star and had an echelon of industry professionals in attendance. The record label also revealed plans for a T Classic extended playlist release much later in the month. And now, in the world of sport, Kenya's Sharon Cherop has emerged as the first female athlete to finish the 42-kilometer race at the 2020 Lagos City Marathon. She finished the race in 2 hours, 31 minutes, 40 seconds. Her compatriot David Bar Masai earlier emerged winner of the male category of the marathon. The 42-kilometer race commenced from the National Stadium, Surulere, Lagos, and ended at the Co-Atlantic, Lagos. Both male and female 42-kilometer runners got the grand prize of $50,000, while the second and third place winners got $40,000 and $30,000 respectively. Cherop told journalists after her race that she was determined to defeat the Ethiopians, who were previous champions of the marathon. To end the news around the world, here is a recap of the main stories. The Nigerian government and its United States counterparts are set for a crucial negotiation next week over the visa ban slammed on the West African country. Equatorial Guinea has pledged its support of 2 million naira to help China combat the coronavirus ravaging the country. The United States President Donald Trump has sacked 2 senior officials who testified against him at his impeachment trial. And in sport, Kenya's Sharon Cherop has emerged as the first female athlete to finish 42-kilometer race at the 2020 Lagos City Marathon. For any information, reach us on these mobile numbers: 0802-237-3535 or 0812-188-9462, or visit us at the or your pensioner's house, Agbarigo, Onireke, Ibadan. The news editor is Yetunde Oke, assisted by Michael Adeyemo, and on behalf of the production crew, I am PIUS NSABE. Good afternoon.
From the rising to the setting of the sun, here is the first labor radio in Africa. Pensioners
106.7 FM.
Agbarigo Nireke Ibadan. A station for the elderly, the youths, the teenagers, and in fact, our children.